Hey guys, Matt here. So the news just came out. I mean, the earnings call hasn't even happened yet, but I'm moving right now, and I just want to get this out to you raw and as soon as possible before I get back to moving boxes. But the short version is right now. I'll show you the numbers, but I mean, you see the stock after hours. AMD is making Intel look absolutely stupid. Now, these numbers aren't great. Like they haven't knocked out of the park by any means, but they are holding water. It does show that AMD is doing a lot better than Intel is at navigating this environment. Let's look at some of the numbers. So if you look here, here's the gap and non-gap. So on the revenue on both is up 16%. That came in at 5.59. Analysts had them at 5.52, so they beat on that. Now, as far as the non-GAAP and net income or earnings per share, which is what they pay attention to, 0.69 cents. So 69 cents versus 67.6 expected. So they did beat on both. Now, contrast that with Intel, who, let me find it here, who most assuredly did not beat on anything. And as a matter of fact, they are down 31.6% revenue by the year. So, no, and they actually came in negative operating income. So already, Intel or AMD is off to a much, much better start than Intel is. Gross margin, whether you look at GAAP or non-GAAP, so GAAP 43%, 51% non-GAAP, which is better than Intel. I mean, 39.2% GAAP, 43.8% non-GAAP. And I'm saying this as an Intel shareholder. So I should be on Intel's side, but I mean, the numbers are not aligning with that. So as far as their operational stuff, yeah, they got hit pretty hard as far as the client segment. So that is true about the macros. Gaming is also down. Now, embedded revenue is up a lot. And data center is up. Now, I'll contrast that with Intel's, who was reporting pretty much down on client and data center and everything. So, at least in data center, I mean, AMD is once again encroaching on Intel's space. And I mean, as anyone will tell you, like there is nothing Intel can do about it for the next couple of years. Now, there's definitely a lot more to digest as the earnings call happens, and I listened to it after I finished moving my boxes and stuff. But just from the initial numbers, yeah, Intel is not looking good, and AMD, by contrast, is looking like it's really holding water. And see, my problem with Intel right now is based on their lackluster performance, like repeated lackluster performance, is that, and this is as a shareholder, like even if long-term Intel completes its projects, it builds the foundries, it releases the chips on time and stuff. Like Intel's performance makes me question whether after all that happens, Intel can actually do the legwork and actually get the money to come in. Whether Intel can actually get the projects done, future projects on time. Like their performance right now kind of shakes my belief in all that. And that's as a shareholder, like I said. So, as an Intel shareholder, what am I doing now? I remember saying in my last video that based on AMD's results, I mean, it would affect how I move forward with Intel. Well, I mean, look, with Intel, man, I just don't know. Like, I don't think I'm going to sell at a 32.09% loss. But I also don't want to buy any more shares until Intel can actually move some product and, just show some performance, some prolonged, persistent performance. That's what I'm looking for. And so I guess what I'm going to do right now is nothing. Like, I'm going to consider AMD, or not Intel, but I'm going to consider Intel probably a failure, or at least for the time being, but I'm not going to do anything about it. So it'll just sit here. If this goes to zero, it won't go to zero. But if this goes to zero, fair enough. If this magically comes back and Intel turns itself around in a few years, fantastic. Once that happens and I get back to the positives, I will probably sell. But anyways, we'll see what Intel does over the next few quarters. Take care, have a great day, and eat your vegetables.